This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelley Bydlon.
Hey, it's Long Shots, golf betting podcast here on the VSiN Podcast Network. Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, Kelley Bydlon coming off of a, guess what, Wes? I said this to my buddies. It doesn't matter how it gets there, as long as it gets there, and that's an outright on the second tournament of the year for Wes Reynolds. We don't need to talk about how that damn thing got there and the fact that it had to go to a playoff. You know what matters is that money hits your account and that you were on a guy that at least put himself into contention with very long odds, and that is what I think people need to understand in all of this, which is some of the stuff I say, oh, yeah, throwing darts at 150 is one. It's not necessarily that we are convinced that these long shot dudes are going to win, but you can monetize a ticket if you have a dude at 100+1 if he puts himself in contention come Sunday. And that's exactly what happened here. I know it wasn't a clean hedge. It was all messy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you got home with it. And congrats to you, Wes, a outright here in the second tournament of the year.
Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Look, how many times have we had guys where they should have won and they lost?
Yeah.
And this was one that should have lost that won. And Nick Taylor, who was two back. By the way, he missed two 4-foot putts, right around 4 feet on both 15 and 16. So I was like, okay, this is over. We're done here. And then all of a sudden, because I'm half watching this and half watching the Packers-Eagles game on Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening. And then all of a sudden, I see something. I'm like, whose ball just went in the hole from off the green? Who chipped in there? And it was Nick Taylor who did. So he finished his 16. Nico Echeverria finished his 16. The guys that were the leaders pretty much all afternoon in the final group, that was Stefan Jaeger and JJ Spawn, they end up out of the playoff. They do not birdie 18, either of them, the par 5 18. So Taylor has to hit a 10-footer, by the way, just to survive the first playoff hole. And then Echeverria is in tighter than he is the second time around because they're playing that par 5 18th once again. And then Taylor, short of the green, has to hit a little about 50-yard wedge, hits it about a little less than 3 feet. Echeverria misses a 7-footer for birdie, and Taylor birdies in. And 3-0 now in playoffs, Nick Taylor. So I got it back with Taylor, though, because I was on Fleetwood at the Canadian Open a couple years ago. That was when Adam Hadwin got tackled by the security on the green.
Kelley, I'll tell you what.
That was right there, too.
It's if you're going to have a record on the PGA Tour, being undefeated in playoffs is good because that means you're winning tournaments. And so, good for him. I mean, there are a lot of things you could be known for, but being the dude that's undefeated in playoffs is a pretty good. That means you're winning multiple tournaments.
Winning tournaments and money going up exponentially sometimes with each one of those wins. So yeah, awesome. And that was, I want to give Wes some crap though, because I think he got a bad number, right? Wasn't he 300-1 or something entering his final hole or something like that? So come on, Wes, be better. Jeez.
Yeah, I think it was close. I think it was 0.4%. Data Golf put that out as he was going to AT&T. I'm like, this doesn't have a prayer, and it did. I gave a little back. I had to play a little Nico in the playoff at least, to get something and actually, have a small profit. But Nick Taylor gets there and. Not courtesy of the putter, though, unfortunately. But, yeah, this guy won the Canadian Open 2 years ago over Fleetwood, won the playoff last year over Charlie Hoffman at the Waste Management, where we'll be in a few weeks. So good to get one on the board at the Sony Open. I lost the playoff, actually, here last year. I had Keegan Bradley, who, of course, was defeated by the late Grayson Murray. Both him and Benny On were in the playoff. So nice to get one back, man. It seems like sometimes we don't celebrate our winners, but we remember our losers all the time. Yeah. So gonna try to take some joy out of this one.
Well, and there is no better feeling in golf betting if you bet it all season long like we do to not only hit early, but to hit a nice one at that price. Oh boy, you're going to be in the black for a while now.
And Wes, it's like you said, man, it's like those ones you lose by one stroke where you feel like you should have won the damn thing. Like it's fine. It's fine to get one that you didn't feel like you were going to get. we have a lot of runner-ups here on this podcast, so we'll take the winners for sure when they come.
We should rename it, actually. Just the runner-ups. There you go.
Seriously.
I feel like I'm setting a second place finish record over the past 2 years.
One note, and then we're going to move on here. The Decky watch, 13th in the field in putting. So after putting his ass off 2 weeks ago, 13th in 156 player field in putting this week. Of note, because if the putter carries with him, Hideki's going to be a bet on dude as we move forward here in all this. Actually, the irons let him down, way down on the approach, which was odd for Hideki. We know that's not going to hold, but if the putter carries with him, that's going to be
I wouldn't worry about those. I wouldn't worry about those irons much. They'll get back into form.
Not worried about that at all. Quick thoughts here, guys. We brought it up last week. I know we all watched the TGL. It's actually going on right now as we record this as well. I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it's fun. I think as these guys loosen up a little bit more, they'll probably start talking trash a little bit more, and things will get a little bit more fun, and maybe we start seeing some side bets and things and whatever. Like, I don't know what people who thought that they were expecting more out of it. I mean, I guess the only thing we could expect more out of is they should maybe open the doors 4 hours in advance and just let the crowd get smashed or something like that. And then like you just have like a crazy crowd in there or something like that. I mean, other than that, Kelley, I know you and I talked a little bit about it. I think it's entertaining, man. Like, I don't know what else you really would want out of this.
I didn't really go into it with much expectations, and it was awesome. It was even in a blowout. It looks like we're gonna have another blowout here tonight. I threw a few bucks on the Jupiter. I don't know what they're called. The Jupiter Golf Links, the Jupiter Links or something like that, whatever it is.
Colin Morikawa, by the way, with the yardage book in his back pocket is kind of sending me here a little bit.
Yeah, there's been a couple things. It's very entertaining. I like the setup. I'm very eager to figure out if there is an edge in handicapping this at all. I mean, we saw Ludwig look absolutely awesome last week, which I think there is a little bit of, okay, like these younger guys, like they've been hitting into these screens and playing stuff like this, ever since they started golf, if you're Ludwig's age, really. So, I don't know, something to that. I mean, this is diving real deep, but like, I don't know how you guys feel, but it feels like around the green play is going to matter a fair amount here. Cause it just like that turf surface just looks so odd chipping off of. And it just feels like the guys that get a feel for that the quickest and the greens are going to have an advantage. It's just trying to figure out who that's going to be.
Well, Kelley, I can tell you this, and it depends on what the trio is moving forward. But like, if this Jupiter team gets blown out here, it's like this is by far their worst combo with Kisner out there. Like Tom Kim is their other team member,
right?
So like, if it's Tiger, Homa, and Tom Kim, and we get like a price on them next time that they're out, like, I think that's something that we can take with us here a little bit. And plus, Tiger increases the variance, right? Like he's got gamble in him, as we know, and like he's willing to throw the hammer and do the things and all the stuff like that. And I think that Jupiter team might be something that's a little bit more volatile with the betting, which could be good for us. We get him on a plus money, like it'll be good.
And it's Tiger. Like, he helped build the thing. There should be a little bit of an advantage here, you would think. Like, I don't care what the state of his game or injuries or back or whatever is right now. It's Tiger Woods. He helped build this thing. I'm sure he tested it out plenty. So, yeah, I can't wait to see it. I would say my only two, and I don't even want to say these are critiques, but like what I would like to see more, like you talked about, maybe the crowd map, but like it's all rich bougie people hanging out here. It's Palm Beach Gardens, like we joked about last week. All the golfers live right there, anyways. Keegan's in the crowd tonight. Everybody's in the crowd tonight. I think this helps cap.
If it's not booze, then whatever. You should bring the designer drugs or something.
I'm just talking
whatever
top shelf liquor.
I don't know what they do.
Top shelf liquor. It's not beers. It's not beers and seltzers. It's top shelf liquor going on. But the two I would say is I feel like this does help capture the practice round smack talking and everything like that. We've seen it a little bit more tonight. I need to start seeing cash like out there. Like, is there really like a big deal if we're just flashing cash and throwing down like a couple hundred to make a putt or something like that? Like, you guys do it all the time anyways. Everybody knows you do it. Just put it on TV. It's way more fun that way. And then the hammer's like, the hammer needs work. Like my idea is like a Thor type hammer.
You want an actual physical hammer?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking into a gong, Matt. Like a gong always needs to be involved. Like then it signals to everybody the hammer's been thrown, right? So I think something like that could be worked on.
I think once per. I also think once per per match, the crowd should be able to throw a hammer. And like you have to, whenever the crowd's like, you know what? We want to see some action on this hole. Like the crowd throws the hammer and then whatever. Wes, what'd you think of TGL?
No, I liked it. The intermission, I kind of felt, I guess I understand why they do that, because they got Scott Van Pelt, obviously, on the coverage for this thing back in the studio before he does the SVP Sports Center. But I thought the intermission, it kind of slowed the momentum of the event, I thought, at least. It's like, let's just keep this going here. And, or if you're going to do it, make it shorter than it was, because I don't know, it felt like a long time to me for some reason. But look, I like the event. I think it's cool. I think you're showing personalities and guys interacting with each other that you usually don't see, because oftentimes when you're playing competitive rounds, you don't see these guys really talk to each other. They're kind of, in their own little world. Yeah. Maybe they do the walk and talk, or they're talking to the caddy or what have you. But you don't really see players talk to each other during the rounds, because they're obviously playing for really big stakes and really big prize money in terms of their day jobs. But it was kind of nice to see, a little bit of talking. I'd like to see even more talking. Have a little fun with this. And I think the guys are getting used to it. I think the guys are really going to have a lot of fun doing this thing.
Off to the American Express, PGA West in La Quinta, California. Guys, remember, as always, everything we do absolutely free. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you're watching us over on the YouTube channel, hello. Appreciate you taking in the video version of this. You also can hit the subscribe button if you want to give us a thumbs up, and then let us know in the comment section how you're going to be playing this wonky tournament. And look, Pro-Am format, so amateurs are going to be with the guys for the first 3 rounds. They play a rotation of 3 different courses. They'll play the stadium course twice, once throughout the rotation, and then once again if you make the cut after 54 holes there on Sunday. Wes, we know, look, it's easy scoring conditions. The courses are shorter. The rough is easy. It's a resort. I've been to La Quinta. I used to stayed at one of these resorts, actually, on one of these courses. Like, it's a resort deal, and these dudes are probably going to light this thing up.
Yeah, look, when I was looking, just doing some breakdown of the courses, these are actually, I believe these were 3 of the easiest of the top 4. I think the easiest, if I remember, was Kapalua. But look, very easy courses. PGA West, probably the hardest of the 3. That is the stadium course, the die design that they'll play either one of the first 3 days, and then of course on Sunday once the cut is made down after 54 holes. The Nicklaus Tournament course, the La Quinta course. The La Quinta, I think, the easiest of the 3, because it's the shortest and really, gettable for these guys. Like you're going to see, I think the average score, by the way, last year for a round at La Quinta, I believe, was like 4.1 under par. So that means you got to shoot a 68 just to kind of like be level, you feel like, with the rest of the field, let alone gain anything. So, yeah, very easy courses, all POA overseed on the greens, because they are Bermuda, but it's dormant. So it's POA overseed, but by the way, it's not like pure POA. It's not like the bumpy POA you're going to see at Torrey Pines next week. So, still a little bit of Bermuda in these greens. So pretty easy in terms of the scoring. 29 under, by the way, was the winner last year, Nick Dunlap, who was then amateur Nick Dunlap, because he was still playing at University of Alabama. And then he won this like, hey, I don't need to play at University of Alabama anymore. I actually want to get paid for my PGA Tour wins. So, you could see, I think, a wide open field. You've seen longer shots win here. Dunlap, 301. Andrew Landry, 201. Adam Long, I think his Twitter was a long shot, and he was 600-1 in 2019. But you've also seen John Rahm here win twice at about 10-1, 12-1 odds. So by and large, you're getting kind of medium to bigger prices.
Our favorite country club, Hudson Swafford, has also won this tournament before.
Twice. Don't sell them short. Twice.
Hudson Swafford, who had no choice but to be a golfer. Hudson Swafford. Like, tell me what else he could be in life. There's nothing else he could be in life.
There's nothing. There's
the rush chairman at Sigma Chi or something at University of Georgia for his entire life.
But like, it had to be in a movie, because like that would be like the name of the dude in the movie. But I mean, it's just like it's too cliche for him to be in real life. But that's really, it's Hudson Swafford.
I mean, there's definitely others, but I think Hudson, Patrick Fishburne feels very country club-ish. Like there's a lot of great country club names on tour, but Hudson will take. He always wins.
It is. He is at the top of the podium.
Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the first and the last name. Like McKenzie, obviously country club name, but Hughes, whatever.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Hudson Swafford. I
No,
mean, like,
you're
come
right.
on. I mean, it's Hudson Swafford.
What's a Frankie Cappin? Frankie B. Cappin. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through down.
It's unreal here. Only the only other thing is that, we talked about this last year with you guys when we were doing this tournament. Like, you basically have to go low on the La Quinta course. It's the course that everybody destroys, and so if you're gonna have a chance here at this one, you got to go low on the La Quinta course.
I think I just found a random ad that I have nothing to support. Toasty at 250 to 1. Luke List is 250 to 1. This field isn't all that great. Taylor Montgomery 300 to 1. Wow. Okay.
You're like, I didn't scroll this far.
Well, I'm like, well, they didn't pop it all, so I didn't really consider them at all. Hayden Buckley, that's a pretty good country club name. I don't know. Hayden Buckley though could be NASCAR or country.
No. Hayden Buckley is NASCAR. Yeah. Here comes Buckley around that turn right now. They done drafting on him, and that's for sure. Like they're like that's Hayden Buckley's NASCAR. Like it's a good call on that. It's like it is definitely a pigeonholed name, but it's more NASCAR than it is golf. Okay, we talked a little bit before we started recording here. None of us were just super excited about modeling this one. I did model it anyway. I'll let you know what popped out, and I kind of was almost a slave to this model just mainly because I don't. This is you either go like complete gut feel on this tournament or you go like complete model feel. I don't think you can really kind of go one way or the other because when we're talking 29s and 26s and everything under like that, like anybody in basically, there's 70 different golfers in this field that can go at that low. And so when you get on easy courses, these dudes are going to light it up. So, I just went super, super incredibly scoring heavy, and like that's just all I did with the model, guys. I birdie a better percentage, birdie a better gain, strokes gain on easy courses, stroke gain on short courses, strokes gain par 5s, par 5 scoring average, like bogey avoidance, like all that. Like I just went like, okay, who if they run pure for 4 days can just go out and destroy this course is kind of how I did the model this week. That's about it for me. Nothing. Honestly, like no secret sauce for me in this one. Kelley, anything you did different?
No, pretty basic. I mean, a little bit of off the tee accuracy stuff, but not much. Approach, and then basically everything scoring. Opportunities gained, birdie or better. Eagles, par 5 scoring.
I even do the opportunities plus in there, the inside 10-foot putts and stuff.
I do think we're back. I mean, easy scoring courses, plug that stuff in. I think that's important, but bogey avoidance, you hit on pretty much everything. I do want to, before we get to West, just a couple PSAs for this tournament. Like, hey, like we talked about, they play multiple courses. Only one course has the shot link data, so be careful if you're looking kind of back past strokes gain results from this tournament, because all that's going to pull is from the one course. And also be careful with first round leader bets this week and next week too, where we got multiple courses. Just make sure most of the books. Like, you're not catching any books asleep these days. They usually split it up by course that they're playing on, but just, don't see a number and get too excited and bet it before you know what you're betting.
And Wes, even with the course history, right? Like they redid all of the greens at the stadium course. So like even with the course history, it's like the greens are completely different. They added about 2,000 square feet per green and all that, and redid some of the bunkers and stuff. So I don't even know if there's anything real data we can pull from it.
Yeah, that's why I included a little bit of putting this week, but I just did general. I didn't go Bermuda or POA. I think going pure POA here is probably not the right way to go, because this isn't the typical West Coast POA. We see it Torrey or we see it Pebble Beach, because there's some Bermuda, and it's just basically an overseed. So what I did, and Kelley did mention, by the way, PJ West Stadium course, the die design is the only one where we have strokes gained on. So we don't have that for La Quinta or the Nicklaus tournament course. I did approach. I did birdie or better. I think you kind of have to, considering you might have to shoot 30 under to win this thing. You had to shoot 29 last year. Strokes gained par 5s. These are relatively short par 5s at a lot of these, at most of these venues. I think all 4 at La Quinta are under 450 yards, and 3 of them are under 550 at Nicklaus. Easy scoring conditions, putting. I threw a little Pete Dye in there just for some context, and some of the other Pete Dye designs that you go ahead and you see relatively regularly on the PGA Tour. Harbor Town, which is the Heritage, TPC River Highlands at the Travelers, Sawgrass for the Players, TPC Louisiana where they had the Zurich, some other places for majors, Whistling Straits, Crooked Stick, Austin. So there are several Pete Dye designs that you can I think look at for at least some correlation here.
Yeah, it was pretty basic free. I'll add, I just, as Kelley kind of, I think you alluded to, I did just like, tee to green, total, like just total strokes, like just stuff like that. Anybody that's maybe coming in playing on these easy courses, then stuff that I'll kind of throw in. All right, Wes, since we'll let you do the honors since you hit the outright last week. Why don't you start it off with how your card looks?
All right, we'll try to get 2 in a row here. Start this West Coast swing. We ended the Aloha swing at least somewhat okay with Nick Taylor. Thank you very much. Wyndham Clark is where I'm going to start at 33-1. T15 at the Century, but he led the field in driving distance. Runner-up at the Players last year, which is another Pete Dye design I talked about. And Wyndham was one of my lucky ones as well last year, because remember, he won at Pebble Beach when that was a weather-shortened event. He shot 60 for the third round. Then there was a big rainstorm in Monterey Peninsula and washed it out. So he's a proven putter on these West Coast courses. So Wyndham Clark 33-1. I didn't want to go too many short guys this week necessarily, so he was my shortest. Going with Sepp Straka again, 60-1. 15th and 30th in Hawaii, but he was 8th on approach play last week at the Sony. Was 4th here in 2020. He's a guy that ranks higher in birdie or better. So a guy that can go low, I think, on these shorter courses, which all 3 of these are this week. So Sepp Straka 60-1. Brian Harman, 66-1. He's actually finished 3rd here twice, 2017 and 2022. Over the last 50 rounds, actually, no player in the field rated out better on Pete Dye designs because he always kind of plays well at River Highlands and also down there in South Carolina at Harbor Town for the RBC Heritage. So plays well on those designs. So I thought Brian Harman, good ball striker here. Not very long courses because he's not a big hitter off the tee. Brian Harman, 66-1. Another guy that I typically play here because he's got some success here, although he doesn't have a win to show for it. Adam Hadwin, 75-1. 2-time runner-up here at PGA West, 2017 and 2019. Top 6 in 5 of his last 8 appearances here. And then, maybe a little narrative street play. He watched his good buddy Nick Taylor win at the Sony, his fellow Canadian, and I mentioned it briefly earlier. Remember, he was the one, Adam Hadwin, that went to pour champagne on Nick Taylor there at the RBC Canadian Open when he won in that playoff, only for the security to tackle him. So Hadwin might be in good mood here. But on a course he's had success, and then seeing his buddy win. So Hadwin, 75-1. Mac Meissner at 90-1. T21 last week at the Sony. 4th in the field, though, on approach. Good approach player. Really good iron player. Ranked very highly last year. He got 3 top 10s for his rookie year on tour. So Meissner, 90-1. Daniel Berger, right around that price as well. Remember, he finished last year runner-up at the RSM. Kept his tour card. Missed the cut last week at the Sony. Just didn't putt well, but his approach was fine. He was fine off the tee. Just couldn't make anything. Sneaky good record at Pete Dye, 2nd and a 5th at River Highlands, 3rd at Harbor Town, 2 top 10s at the Players, a top 10 at Crooked Stick. And so Daniel Berger, 80-ish, 90-ish to 1 range, I think is where he is right now. Adam Schenk, 175-1. I had to have one triple-digit guy, and the last guy in the card worked out last week by price. That was, of course, Nick Taylor. Adam Schenk at 175, top 6 last week at the Sony Open. That was his first top 10, by the way, since the Valero last April. You look at the form here; he's missed 4 of 7 cuts, including his last 3 here. But he's a streaky player that might be able to build on a strong finish from the previous week. So we will close out with Adam Schenk at 175-1.
Kelley Bydlon, what's going on with you?
I like it. So, just to throw it out there, these tournaments beginning of the year, I guess I'll take away the Century, but Sony and definitely here. I usually go lighter. I'm usually just playing outrights. It's Birdie Fest. We're trying to figure out who's getting into a groove and who's looking good. So I spent way too much time trying to whittle down my card, so I just ended up firing small on all of them. So I've actually got a lot more outrights than I normally have this week. But started with long shots, and it's appropriately named because that's the name of this podcast. Subscribe, download, rate, review now, please. I will say Wyndham Clark, I did not bet Wes, but heavily considered. I guess the last guy I left off. I don't know about you guys, but overall top of the odds board, frankly, with just what I ran for model, and yes, it was basic stuff, but I really wasn't even feeling the need, all that much to even gravitate to any of those guys at the top. I think Justin Thomas was maybe the guy at the top I was the most interested in, but at price, I couldn't really get there. Wyndham was the one guy of just, okay, still in a bit of a softer field. You can get 30-1 or better on Wyndham. Good class player. That one I struggled with a bit. I did end up skipping him, but I like that play. Okay, outright card for me starts at 60-1. That's where we're starting. I could not ignore the numbers with a couple of these guys. JJ Spawn, I'm going back to him. I know he was right in the mix last week. T3 ends up finishing at the Sony. We'll see if there's any hangover effect there, but man, the numbers and what he's putting up right now, just really impressive with the irons. Finished T25 here a couple years ago, so not a course that's foreign to him. Has played it well here before. Approach numbers are awesome. He's got a decent putter going right now, solid accuracy off the tee. Kind of checks all the boxes that I was looking for this week. So JJ Spawn, 60-1 started there. Eric Cole, we know there's some amateurs going to be playing in this. Eric Cole, you're always concerned about spraying it off the tee, but I don't think we're going to be dealing with that penal of rough here. T21 at T36 in 2 times here. Finished 5th at the Sony last week, so coming in a bit of good form. But other than that, when you're talking about approach and putting, and I think that's what's going to be the big game changer this week, it checks the boxes. So Eric Cole, 70-1, went with him. And then Wes joining you on old Mac Meisner, T21 last week. Another great approach player and putter. I see Matt Brown getting the app ready, I'm guessing. And I do not have that sound effect yet, so you're going to have to keep using the app when we get there.
We have to keep using the app?
Yeah, yeah. So Maddie Schmidt, no, wait. Pod play on the old Mac. All right.
The Mac Meisner.
We need a big Mac ticket coming home.
Pod play on the old Mac. Well, look at that.
I like it. Okay, so I got him at 80-1. I didn't get the cool 90-1 that Wes got. The other guy, I don't know. I'm sure he rated out pretty highly for both of you, and Wes might have just ignored him because I understand reasons why. I went with Lucas Glover at 100-1. That's the guy can't putt. He struggles with that. But he's a guy that, T21 at the Sony. Go back to the fall, a couple of T3s, a T13, played well in the fall. We saw him playing good golf last summer. Outside of the bad putting, if I get a spike putting week from Lucas Glover, I love what I see with the irons. Here's the bad news. He has missed the cut somehow here three of the last 4 times he's teed it up. So, it's 100-1. Enter
he
with
hates
caution.
easy courses. He's like, give me the challenge.
Right, exactly.
This is too easy.
Well, no, Matt, if just knowing old grumpy Lucas Glover, my feeling would be he just hates playing 6-hour rounds with, millionaires, billionaires asking him all kinds of stupid questions probably. So, anyways, I'm going a little bit on Lucas Glover. He rated out very highly for me, like top 5 across the board probably. But, like we always warn people, if you're running your own numbers at home, we weigh approach stuff so heavily that guys with good iron play like him usually rocket to the top of the board. So my last guy I went with was Matty Schmidt at 190-1. Wes, I know you played him early last year. Matt, I feel like you got involved in that party a couple times last year. I'm just going with the putting here. He's 11th in strokes gained putting over the last 36 rounds. Dude can score 10th in birdie or better, 3rd in par 5 scoring, and a T6 here in 2023. So under 91, let's party, Matty Schmidt. I'm on board. So JJ Spawn for me, Eric Cole, Mac Meisner, Lucas Glover, Matty Schmidt.
I also have Matty Schmidt on my card this week, so there we go. I'm matching with 2 of you, so let's hope we can win some stuff here. My 2, so I went the non-feel approach, and I went the full-on slave to the slave to the numbers approach here, and we'll see if it works out. If it doesn't, when it just kind of is what it is. These tournaments a little wonky, a little wacky, so hopefully the algorithm spit out something that I feel good about. First play I threw in Kurt Kitayama. Kurt Kitayama was...
I almost did it last week, and I almost did it this week too, but I avoided it.
Yeah, he's just way up at the top of every version of every model that I ran. I tried to get away from it, but no chance there for Kitayama inside the top 6 in the model that I ran over at BetSperts, the model that I ran over at Rick Rungood. He's just way up there for me. So Kurt Kitayama, the first one for me. The guy that was number 1 overall in one of the models and then was only a few down on the other, Max Grazerman, was the number 1 overall for me in the model. What are you doing?
No. I was really close to him, Matt, but that was another one. I just couldn't get on. I couldn't get on board with that number. I was expecting a longer number than 30 or whatever.
Oh yeah, so it was. I ran this like very early yesterday, so like I caught a 40 on him.
Okay.
So I caught a 40 on him. If it's moved down into the 30s, maybe a little less sexy, a little less attractive. But again, he was the number 1 overall in my model, so like kind of hard not to play a dude at 40 that's number 1 overall in your model. Then these last 4, and I did 4 this week because I did the same thing y'all are talking about. I just kind of like I'm not playing on courses where guys are going 27 under and 29 or stuff like that. Like I don't play placement market stuff, and because you can play really good and still get lapped and get out of a top 20 and out of whatever. It's just like there's nothing like your dude going 6 under and then falling out of the top 20 because like so many people went 8 under and 9 under and stuff. So I don't
when
like
the
doing
scores are this low, your guy could have 3 of the best rounds of his life, and then if he craps the bed in the final round or just goes like even par, he's not winning. So he's not finishing in the top 5 or top 10.
Yeah, I just don't do placement market in these type of tournaments, so I just went a little bit heavier on the outrights and just like y'all, I just lowered the monetary output with it.
How do you guys approach matchups with these? Sorry, man, I don't mean to cut you off. I'll play a couple matchups, but even matchups I don't go heavy with.
If there's a huge discrepancy,
right,
maybe in like where I have someone and then who they're matched up with and the price isn't crazy, I wouldn't run away from it. But I also, again, I tend not to in these type of tournaments.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe with like the round by round. If you have like huge putting variance, if somebody gained even though these greens are relatively similar surfaces, if you have somebody that gained like 4 strokes in a round or something, then I might go against and say, okay, you're getting some regression. The guy just made everything. The guy made a couple 40-footers or whatnot. So not a lot of pre-tournament matchups really for me.
So Bo Hostler for me, another guy super high in the model for me. I think in a tournament like this is pretty appealing because like he's just as likely to get cut as he is to like be in the mix on Sunday or something. And so I'll embrace the variance on a dude like him that when he's on can score really well, but when he's off will just miss the cut. And so whatever, that's fine with a number that's attached to a guy like him. My last 2 plays, I actually had to go in and do some research on these guys because they showed up in models and I didn't know who the hell they were. So whatever a Paul Peterson is on the card this week, and go in find out.
He was in the mix last week.
I was going to say, I believe I said that while I was watching him last week.
Yeah, so you go in, you find out that he earned his card off the Korn Ferry last year, in which he is a pretty good guy for a tournament like this as well. A whole bunch of like top 10s with a whole bunch of like cuts and T, 69s and stuff and T40. So he either has it or he doesn't. And so good for me. That's what I'm looking for in a tournament like this is like go out and just run pure for 4 days and we'll see what outcome comes with him. And then the other guy that I had to do some real research on because he was he's 9th in one of my models and he is legitimately 1st in the other. And now small sample size with all this because Korn Ferry, but like Jackson Suber is the other guy that is on here. So I'll go in, do the research. Jackson Suber is he played at Ole Miss in last year. He played at Ole Miss was 2022. He went over, did the Corn Ferry thing as well. In that Corn Ferry thing, he fared very well. Now he's going to be playing out here. So, again, a guy that is, if you go in, you look like there's back-to-back weeks on the Corn Ferry of second and third. And then, he's got some T9, T6, T11, T whatever, like guy that was just like always in the mix. Now win equity might be crap, because again, he's not winning any of these tournaments or something, but he's got an infinite number next to his name, so feels pretty good. I think I got 175 to 1 on. Oh, people are betting Jackson Suber 120. Yeah, I got like 175 on him.
Well, we're in the triple digits, so shop around.
Yeah,
you could
so
easily still
yes.
find a 180 out there.
Yeah,
probably.
So shop around for sure on this guy. But again, just another dude that earned his way on with the Corn Ferry, and as Wes mentioned, I mean, we had an amateur win last year, so I mean, was a guy that's already played really well on Corn Ferry, coming over and doing that here on this rotation of courses.
Really good approach numbers. Yeah, really good approach numbers, by the way, last week for Jackson Suber. So that's sometimes like a win in doubt, maybe when you're filling out your card, and you got a spot for one more, depending on how many you want to play. It's kind of like, yeah, if the guy's hitting his irons pretty well, usually that's going to stay consistent at least for a longer term. So when in doubt, like that's what put me on Meissner this week. Still hitting his irons really well.
Yeah, so that is, and as I mentioned, so pod play obviously on Meissner, and then like I said, I shared Matty Schmid with Kelley as well. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now in all of this. So Kitayama, Meissner, Grazerman, this Bo Hostler, Matty Schmid, Paul Peterson, and Jackson Suber. Wes, run through your card one more time, please, sir.
Yeah, Wyndham Clark at 33 to 1 is where I started. Didn't go too many short guys, but he was the only short guy I played. Sepp Straka 60 to 1, Brian Harmon 66 to 1, Adam Hadwin 75, Mac Meissner at 90, Daniel Berger right around at 90 as well, and then Adam Schenk at 175.
Kelley Bydlon.
JJ Spawn 60 to 1, Eric Cole 70 to 1, Mac Meissner 80 to 1, Lucas Glover 100 to 1, and Matty Schmid 190 to 1.
Guys, I did something I don't normally do, but I went in and threw a Masters bet in on Hideki after the second good week of putting. I'm going to go ahead and buy in. You can find like 23, 24 to 1 out there in the market. I think if this continues, he's probably going to end up winning between now and then, and we're going to be looking at something a little bit shorter on him heading into this tournament. So I did play a Hideki
Don't
Masters.
hate that.
Just again, like I said, I wanted to kind of see what's going on. And look, the putter could fall off for sure, but I'm not worried about his irons in the least bit. That we know, just one of the very best that there is, and so. Okay, so he's still 22 over there at DraftKings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, still 22 there on Decky. I don't know if the number gets better if he continues to play this consistent. So I went ahead and did that. Remember, guys, numbers aren't going to be as juicy in the Masters, shorter field, smaller field, and then also remember all the olds and all the amateurs that are playing as well. So even though it's the field is actually smaller than it actually is because of the past champion stuff and the amateurs that they let in and things like that. So not going to get as juicy a number as you think there on Masters. So 24 was good enough for me for Hideki, and if he falls off between now and then, so be it. But I want to get ahead of him, fall into 14 or something like that.
I like it. Nick Taylor 200 to 1. Just throwing it out there, Wes. Just throwing it out there for you.
just getting it on in there.
He's starting off the year right, man. Keep riding him, right?
There you go.
He's going to be outdoing Rory McIlroy before you know it.
Mike Weir at 2 and then draw zeros until your arm gets tired.
Right.
That's what for Mike Weir to win again. Guys, as always, everything we do here on this podcast is absolutely free. So if you're listening on the audio side, we do appreciate you guys going in, not only subscribing, but if you want to rate your review, that is also helpful. Help us climb up the charts here and more people can find this very podcast. If you're watching us over on the video side, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Yeah, you're getting the whole channel here, but we'll get notified whenever anything happens as far as this podcast goes. So please go in, leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking about for the AMEX as well. For Wes, for Kelley, I am Matt.
Well,
Good luck.
Matt, we forgot one. Pump the brakes,
What?
big guy. We got another tournament to talk about.
Are we going to Dubai?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go to Dubai.
What, you got a hot date to get to or something?
Let's go to Dubai.
Yes, we are. I've got a few days off. I can go over. Why not?
Look at that. I didn't know we were headed to Dubai. Let's go to Dubai. Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's all, Wes. What do we got, Wes? What are we looking at this week?
We are in Dubai. We are starting the DP World Tour season officially. So Dubai Desert Classic, otherwise known as the Rory McIlroy Invitational, as he's won this event 4 times, including the last 2 years. He's, by the way, just plus 350, which is about the price he was each of the last 2 years. So, he's carried the European mantle, but probably the best challenger he's had is Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm, by the way, in the field this week, playing for the first time in his career. So I got to think that's going to get Rahm's juices going to play against Rory, but you're not getting any discount despite the fact that he's now outside the top 30 in the world rankings. Nick Taylor knocked him out actually last week. Jon Rahm, by the way, 6-1 this week. Tyrrell Hatton in this field, Tommy Fleetwood, Victor Hovland, the Højgaards, Robert McIntyre, Adam Scott in this field. So you've got some big names at the top here. Par 72 here at the Majlis course at Emirates Golf Club, 74-39, a few dog legs, quick Bermuda greens. Could be some draw bias as the wind is usually stronger in the afternoon than it is in the morning. 3 par 5s, by the way, on the back, including the par 5 18, where if you watch this event a couple years ago, Rory McIlroy might have won 3 in a row, but he decided to go for the green in 2 when he had the lead and didn't need to and put it in the drink. And then Victor Hovland beat Richard Bland in the playoffs. So you've had some class players win here. Paul Casey, Bryson DeChambeau, Sergio Garcia, and then, of course, Rory 4 times. So each of the last 14 winners have had at least a top 10 within their last several starts leading in. Only one event debutant has actually won here. That was Richard Green in 97. So I only went 4 deep here because I don't want to go too deep when Rory McIlroy can beat you. So if you want to go without the without Rory market, I think it's available at a couple stores. Check your shops, obviously, if you want to go the without the Rory market. But I went with Rasmus Højgaard at 22-1, and if you're going to take on Rory, you got to have somebody that's battled him recently, and that's Rasmus Højgaard, who, by the way, beat him at the Irish Open last September, and then was the runner-up to him at the DP World Tour Championship there at the Emirates at the end of the year. So Rasmus, by the way, did play last week. There was an event, not an official event, but they have this Team Cup event now over that the DP World Tour sponsors. It's Great Britain and Ireland against Continental Europe, and Great Britain and Ireland opened up a can of whoop ass on these guys. I think it was like 18.5 to 9.5. So it was like a U.S. Ryder Cup team basically getting their butt whooped in a competition. Rasmus also playing on the PGA Tour this season as he earned his card. He was one of those 10 at the end of the year that earned it from the DP World Tour. So I think it could be an advantage playing the week before like it was for Victor Perez a couple years ago when he played at won Abu Dhabi after playing that opening event. So Rasmus at 22-1. Going to go with a little bit of a flyer here because it's not a guy that plays over in Europe very often, but Akshay Bhatia is over there at 40-1 this week. Hot finish to 2024, but it was only 32nd at the Century, but making his debut. But if you remember watching this last year, Cameron Young did finish 3rd in this event, having never played here before. Meronk was 2nd, and then Rory, of course, wins like he usually does. So Akshay at 40-1. Another guy that's been a runner-up here that I'm going to play. I'm going to play Patrick Reed at 50-1, who was runner-up to Rory here 2 years ago and has good history at Dubai, 2nd and 3rd in the DP World Tour Championship, which is the closing season event over there on the DP. He's a guy that's won early in the year before, too. Remember, he's won the American Express in years past. He won the Farmers Insurance Open a few years ago, so he's won early in January. And Reed, by the way, why he's kind of getting a little bit of the best of both worlds, like a few of these guys that are being allowed to play these DP World Tour events, despite the fact that they have live status. So, no ban necessarily over there. There may be sanctions coming, but as of now, nothing yet. So Pat Reed at 50-1, and then Laurie Cantor at 60-1, who 3-1 last week for Team GBI in the Team Cup, gained his DP World Tour status back. Remember, he went to live for a while and then didn't win the playoff to get back on the tour, so he's back on the DP World Tour. Won last summer in Germany at the European Open, 4th here on this course in 2021. So we do have early morning golf now back on the DP World Tour. So if you're up for the Australian Open and you're a tennis person, go ahead and watch some golf here in Dubai this weekend.
Matt,
Kelly, I want to remind you
parlay?
that you are down like 3 of these just pick a random name bets to me. Like I have won every single one of them we've ever done. So now you're down 3 Barry steak dinners to me. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to
for the tip.
longer than 100, but shorter than 200, and mainly because
wait,
as I'm
can we
looking,
talk about my parlay real quick? How about Rory top Irishman and John Rahm top Spanish player -137?
I don't know if John Rahm's any good anymore.
He's been upset about these world golf rankings.
But seriously, how does this lose? I mean, I know we're not betting -500 at this early in the season, but are you serious? Rory, Tom McKibben, and Patrick Harrington?
I mean, Rory can always withdraw.
That's the problem. All right, what are we doing?
So longer than 100, but shorter than 200, and mainly because this is like the sweet spot for awesome names. Jorge Campillo, Hatong Lee, Guido Migliozzi, Ewan Ferguson. We have Marcus Kinholt, Frederick Lacroix, Elvis Smiley, Ugo Cousteau, Bert Wiesberger, Sebastian Soderberg. I mean, this is like the amazing name window right here. So that's why we're going where we're going. We're going longer than 100, shorter than 200. You pick one, I pick one. Whoever finishes higher wins.
All right, go ahead. I'm deciding between 2 guys.
I just because I just can't help. Give me Ugo Cousteau. What a name. Give me Ugo Cousteau.
We've played that at some point in this game. I'm going to go with Elvis Smiley because that's just an amazing name. What cruel parents?
I was going to say, Hatong Lee, by the way, has won here before.
Well, Wes, this is not.
Here's the thing,
this
though.
is about the fun, not about.
I've heard
actually
of
winning.
him before. I've heard of him before. I can't really go there, but
I've heard of most of these guys.
He has a new fan now, like Ugo. Me and Ugo, I'm going to follow him on the Twitter. We're gonna be buddies now.
I think I picked Ugo on one of these last year when we did this.
I don't believe that.
Elvis Smiley, I've never heard of before, though.
No,
so I'm gonna
Elvis
go with
Smiley. He's just I mean, he wasn't a real person until you click.
I've actually never heard of him either. I was like, is that the guy that was like the Canadian skater that won the gold medal? No, that was Elvis Stoico. I didn't know if that was the same dude.
Some of these names, the kid was already going to have to get through life with the last name Smiley, and he went with Elvis for his first name. Man, cool parents. Good thing he's a professional golfer.
It was between Ugo and Ewan Ferguson for me, but I just
so like he and Smiley
Ewan's
Kaufman now have to pair in some event, or
they got to be
or
buddies.
something.
Like
some silly
at the very
season
least,
event.
Smiley's got that podcast, so like Smiley's got to get Smiley on.
Smiley and Smiley.
Yeah, they've got the podcast, so he at least has to have him as a guest. Like that's at least got to happen for us here for sure. Okay, now we're done with the podcast.
now we're done. Now send us out, man.
Little false start on me, we'll throw the flag. It's fine. I got penalized. It's no big deal. Again, subscribe, rate, review, hit all the buttons, do all the things. We do appreciate the support here on the podcast. Hopefully we can keep on picking some winners in all of this. For Wes, for Kelly, I'm Matt. See you guys next week.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.